Hello and good evening, folks. This is Wager Detective, May 28th, 2026. We're going to get into this cap between the Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers. Before we get into that, be sure to follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Be sure to like this video if you like the content that Wager Detective's putting out on YouTube, and then also subscribe to Wager Detective on YouTube, one of the fastest growing sports handicappers on any one of these platforms, and in my opinion, one of the best. I appreciate all and every bit of support that I get from my fans out there, and I love all you guys. Let's get into this cap. All right, let's talk about the Houston Astros. Houston Astros, 25-32 on the year. They're 6-4 in their last 10, 5-2 this year in one-run games, and they're 8-13 versus the American League West division rivals. They're 13-18 on the road this year, so a mixed bag there. 6-4 in their last 10, playing good baseball over their last 10, 25-32 overall, 7 games below 500. They're 5-2 in one-run games. That's good. They're 8-13 against their division, so they're probably going to be looking to try to really try to balance that out. And they're 13-18 on the road this year. Now they are 6-3 this year. They're 6-3 last 9 versus the Texas Rangers, 5 over and 4 under in those games. In their last 9 with the Rangers, they're scoring 4.77 runs per game to 4.66 for their opponents, and it's coming out to 9.43 runs per game average. Now, the last 9 at the Rangers, they're 4-6. They're scoring 4.7 runs per game to 4.3 for the Rangers. Comes out to 9 runs per game average. In their last 10 at the Rangers, they've scored 4+ 6 times, and Texas has scored 4+ 5 times. So a mixed bag, but they play their divisional counterparts, the Rangers, pretty well, right? 6-3 last 9 and 4-6 last 10 at the Rangers, and they're scoring marginally better at 4.7 to 4.3 their last 10 at the Rangers. Now, we look at the Astros and road night games this year. They're 5-10, 11 over and 4 unders in those games. They're scoring 5.2 runs per game to 5.33 runs per game. So even though they're 5-10, you look at their runs per game average compared to what they're giving up in their road night games. It's 5.2 to 5.33, 78 to 80 run differential there. So their opponent's only scoring 2 more runs overall in their 15 road night games this year for the Astros. Okay, in the Astros 15 road night games this year, they scored 5+ 8 times, and they scored 2 or less only 3 times. And their opponents in their 15 road night games this year have scored 5+ 9 times and 2 or less 4 times. So a mixed bag there. Even though the record's 5-10, that 5.2 to 5.33 runs per game average tells me that they're playing close, right? And they're good in one-run games. As we said, they're 5-2 this year in one-run games, and they're 6-4 in their last 10. Astros starting to heat up. Now, the Astros are 6-3 in their last 9 games, 4 over, 5 under. They're scoring 4.55 runs per game to 3.44 for their opponents. That's a 41 to 31 run differential for them compared to their opponents. So they're plus 10 in the run department over their last 9 against their opponents, and they are 6-3. In their last 9, the Astros have scored 4+ 5 times, and their opponents have scored 4+ 4 times. So they're out gaining their opponents. Some of these games close. They're looking pretty good over their last 9. Now, against the division this year, they're 8-13. 8-13 versus their division rivals this year. They were swept by Seattle at Seattle. And in their 21 divisional games this year, it's 14 over and 7 under. In their 21 divisional games, they've scored 4.71 runs per game to 5.85 for their opponent. That comes out to a 10.56 runs per game average. And, you know, on the mound today, we're going to have, as you see on the screen, Arrighetti versus Eovaldi. I mean, 7.5 would seem right, but if you look at these metrics so far for the Astros, they score, and they're playing pretty good, right? They're playing pretty good. And yesterday's score, they won 4-3, so it wasn't a high-scoring game. They set the line at 7.5 with these 2 pitchers on the mound that are pitching excellent. So it looks like a clear under compared to what the metrics are saying for the Astros. Now, every cap for Wager Detective has a situational angle, and this one is no different. This is going to be the last game of a road trip before the Astros head home, and with no rest in between, a 6 road trip minimum. And in that split, they are 4-3 in their last 7, 4 over, 3 under. They're scoring 4 runs a game to 4 runs a game for their opponent. So in that split, they've scored 28 runs, and their opponents have scored 28. And the Astros are 6-3 in their last 9, last game of a road trip before they're ready to head home with no rest in between. So something to keep in mind there. On the mound is going to be Spencer Arrighetti. The Astros are 4-1 in his last 5 outings, 2 over, 3 under. Those games have come against the Cubs, Texas, that he beat on May 15th, 2-0. Cubs, Texas, Cincinnati, Boston, and New York. And in his last 5 outings, Arrighetti has pitched 30 innings, 16 hits, 3 earned runs, has given up 17 walks, a home run. So in his last 5, the Astros are 4-1, and 30 innings pitched, 16 hits, 3 earned runs, 17 walks, a home run for a 0.90 ERA and a 1.1 WHIP. This year, when Arrighetti pitches on 5 days rest, the Astros are 3-0, 2 over and 1 under in that split. In Arrighetti's 3 games on 5 days rest this year, 19.1 innings pitched, 9 hits, 2 earned runs, a home run, and 10 walks for a 0.93 ERA and a 0.98 WHIP. Only given up 2 earned runs and 19 innings pitched on 5 days rest this year. And the Astros are 3-0. So you look at that side of the cap, the Astros are playing good baseball. They won yesterday by a run. They're 6-3 in their last 9 versus the Rangers. They're 4-6 in their last 10 at the Rangers. They're 5-2 in 1-run games. The cons are they're 8-13 versus the division, and they're 13-18 on the road, and they're 25-32 on the year. So there's a mixed bag there, but they find ways to score runs, this team. And we'll get into who those guys are. I think we already know who the culprits are for the Astros. Now, before we get into that, the Astros are plus 120 and the Rangers are minus 142 in this game. I find that line is a little bit off, if you ask me. I mean, plus 120. We'll get to this cap and we'll get through it, but from the jump, from looking at that, I think the plus 120 is good. Now, I do believe that the Rangers should be favored, but I don't know by that much. Now, let's get into the Rangers this year. They're 25-30 on the year. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They're 7-10 in 1-run games, 12-12 at home, and they're 9-13 versus the American League West. So both teams not good against their division. The Rangers are 12-12 at home, and they're middling. They're 4-6 in their last 10, whereas the Astros are 6-4 in the last 10. The Rangers are 5 games below 500, and the Astros are 7 games below 500 on the year. So the Astros playing a little bit more better over their last 10. Now, if we look at the Rangers in home night games this year, they are 9-9, 7 over, 11 under in those games to the 7.5 that's set tonight. In the 18 home night games for the Rangers this year, they've scored 3.44 runs per game average to 3.88. That comes out to a 7.32 runs per game average. So if we looked at the Astros, they're 5-10 in road night games, scoring 5.2 runs per game, and the Rangers are 9-9 in home night games, and they're scoring 3.44 runs per game. So I can see how this game could get to an over, even though we got 2 stellar studs on the mound. Again, not everything's going to stay the way that it is. Everything that it seems it could be might not. 1 bad inning, 1 crooked inning for both these guys, a couple walks, a home run. With the bats that both these teams have, it could be an over real quick. Now, if we look at the Rangers, 3-6 in their last 9 overall, 6 over, 3 under. Last 9 for the Rangers, they're scoring 4.77 runs per game to 5.22 for their opponents. And as we said, the Astros are the complete opposite. They're 6-3 in their last 9, and they're scoring 4.55 runs per game, but they're only giving up 3.44, whereas the Rangers are 3-6 in their last 9, scoring 4.77, but they're giving up 5.22 runs per game average. So their home night games and their last 9 for the Rangers, they're scoring more runs, but also in their home night games versus their last 9 overall, they're giving up close to almost 2 runs, over a run and a half more over their last 9. So in the last 9, average score is coming out to 9.99 runs per game average. And in their last 9, the Rangers have scored 5+ 5 times, and their opponents have scored 5+ 5 times. So out of 9 games, both the Rangers and their opponents have scored 5+ 5 times. So something to keep in mind there. Now, if we talk about the division, the Rangers 9-13 against the division this year. They were swept They were swept by Seattle. They were swept by the Angels at the Angels. In their 22 division games this year, 9 over and 13 under. In their 9-13 record versus the division, they're scoring 3.54 runs per game. The 3.86 for their opponent comes out to 7.40 runs per game average. And in their 22 games versus the division, they scored 5+ 7 times and 2 or less 10 times. So it's kind of like a feast or famine, but it looks like it's more like a famine when they play the division and the runs are scoring. They're only scoring 3.54 in 22 games versus the division. Now, their divisional counterparts have scored 5+ 9 times and scored 2 or less 10 times. So the same thing there, kind of, with those two teams, with their opponents and who they're playing. So it's either going to be a game where both teams score and they both get to 4 or 5, or it's going to be one of those games where it's 3-3 and we have a game like we did last night where it ends 4-3. Now, let's get into Nathan Eovaldi. He's 3-2. The Rangers are 3-2 in his last 5, 2 over and 3 under in those games. And 35 innings pitched, 23 hits, 10 earned runs, 6 walks, 6 home runs in his last 5 outings. Comes out to a 2.57 ERA, 0.82 WHIP, but he is giving up 1.54 home runs per 9 in his last 5 outings. And with the low ERA, it tells me that when he does give up home runs, it's solo shots. But that could beat you in a game where it's a close game and you got guys like Alvarez and Walker that are looming in that lineup for the Astros. So very well. I mean, like I said, Rangers 3-2, last 5 outings by Eovaldi. Last 5 outings for Eovaldi, 2.57 ERA, 0.82 WHIP, 1.54 home runs per 9. That's what's hurting him. But if you look at Arrighetti, the Astros are 4-1 in his last 5 outings, and he has a 0.90 ERA and a 1.1 WHIP. And he's 3-0 in 5 days rest, Arrighetti, this year too. So something to keep an eye on there. Now, Eovaldi is going to be on 4 days rest. The the Rangers are 1-1 this year when Eovaldi pitches on 4 days rest, 1 over, 1 under. 12 innings pitched, 12 hits, 2 earned runs, and a home run. That comes out to a 1.5 ERA and a 1.16 WHIP. So the WHIP is a little bit higher on the 4 days rest, but the ERA drops a full run on 4 days rest, where he's pitched twice and he has a 1-1 record. The Rangers do when he does. But you look at, like I said, Arrighetti, the Astros are 3-0 when he pitches on 5 days rest. So Arrighetti's going to have the rest advantage here with the extra day in between starts. And he has a 0.93 WHIP and a 0.98 ERA. Now, if we look at what Eovaldi has done on the year, Rangers are 5-5 when he starts, right? 3.65 ERA, 1.13 WHIP, and a 1.61 home runs per 9. He's only given up 2 walks per 9, and he's striking out nearly 9 batters per 9. So keeps the walks down, strikes out batters, but the home run per 9 could be a problem for him because he could give up that one shot that could change the course of this game. And with the guys they got in that lineup, it could be interesting to see how they can get that done in this spot. Now, if we look at the Astros, we're looking at the batting average for the Astros. Alvarez, number 7 in Major League Baseball with a .311 batting average. And then you got Young on the other side for the Rangers. He's number 13 in baseball with a .302. So both guys got top 15 batters with guys that are over 300 in the lineup. And again, Alvarez coming in at .311 batting average and Young with a .302 batting average. Now, if we look at home runs, the Astros got 2 guys in the top 10 in Major League Baseball with home runs. Alvarez has 20. He comes in at number 2. He's only behind Schwarber. And they got Walker, who's number 7 in home runs. He's got 15. So they got 2 guys that, as we said, if a home run's given up, those are the guys you probably want to look at to get a home run tonight between those 2 guys, Walker and Alvarez, both in the top 10 in home runs this year, 20 and 15 respectively. And the Rangers got a home run hitter too over there, but he's only got 10 home runs. That is Berger. Berger has 10 home runs this year. RBIs, the Astros got 2 guys in the top 10 in baseball, Walker and Alvarez. Walker comes in at number 7 with 40 RBIs, and Alvarez is right there at number 9 with 39 RBIs. And Berger, again, the one guy that stands out, he's got 36 RBIs. So he's right there coming in at number 16 in the RBIs in Major League Baseball. And then if we look at hits, Alvarez, number 5 with 63 in baseball. And then for the Rangers, they got a couple guys in the top 40, Young and Nimmo. Young coming in at 28 and Nimmo coming in at 36, both with 57 and 55 hits respectfully. Guys, if I'm going to look at this game, I know the Rangers are going to get the last at bat. They're playing at home, but I do believe that this is the game for the Astros to win because they are playing a little bit better than what the Rangers are this year. I know Eovaldi is good, but Arrighetti is really pitching really good this year, and he's pitching good lately. I think at the plus 120, I think it is a great number to look at and be absolutely happy about when you look at that. So Wager Detective is going to make that call here. The Astros at plus 120 on the money line to beat the Texas Rangers, and that's the call here. If I was going to look at an over-under here, I do believe late you can get bullpen action where guys could give up runs, and you could get one home run with guys on base. It could be a problem. I would lean the over here. I wouldn't feel comfortable with the 7.5, even though you got two guys on the mound that are pitching good. But again, when guys are looking both good, not both guys are going to come out and necessarily pitch great. And if they do, you still got the bullpen on the back end. And even if these guys pitch to a 1-1 tie, I've seen many times where if a game is 3-3 and it goes to extra innings and can get over, I wouldn't feel comfortable laying that under 7.5. So Wager Detective would take the over in the 7.5 in this game. But his stronger play in this game is going to be the Astros plus 120. This is May 28th, 2026. Follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And guys, I love all my fans out there. Thank you for your support. We're on a movement here. The Wager Detective Report going up every day on Twitter and YouTube. Let's go Astros. I love all my fans. I'll talk to you soon.